So Israel is losing support even among Republicans. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Hey there, I'm Harry Enton, and today we are running all the numbers on Israel's U.S. popularity problem. Israel is losing support here in the United States, even amongst Republicans. Take a look at this data. Take a look at this data amongst young Republicans. Look at this massive shift that we have had over just the last 4 years. The net favorability of Israel among Republicans under the age of 50. You go back to 2022.
Is that 42 thumbs up? Points?
2 thumbs up for Israel amongst young Republicans. But by 2025, look at this.
Oh my God.
Already a 30-point shift away. Their net favorability down to -2. Today, look at this. minus 16 points. That's an over 40-point shift in just 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time away from Israel amongst young Republicans. But that's not the only part of the Republican base where Israel is struggling. How about amongst moderate or liberal Republicans? They make up about a third of the Republican base at this point in time. The net favorability of Israel with moderate liberal Republicans back in 2022. Again, 2 thumbs up. You'll notice I do a lot of Siskel and Ebert references. I just really like them. At plus 26 points. Today, again, negative territory, -9 points. That's
35-point drop. Holy shit.
A 35-point shift in just 4 years' time.
That's bad.
With moderate liberal Republicans shifting away from Israel. And this, to me, gives you a good indication of why one of the more ardent critics of Israel within the Republican Party is actually, at this point, favored to win a competitive primary. You may know him, Thomas Massey.
I've heard
of course, is the representative from Kentucky Sports.
Dude, we are in the world now where the source for the prediction on who is going to win a congressional race is being decided by a prediction market call sheet. That's crazy. Wow. W sponsor. Crazy sponsor. Aren't they sponsored? Yes, CNN is sponsored by Kalshi now. That's right. You called this, everybody knew this was going to happen.
District. He has been opposed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump has endorsed his opponent. Pro-Israel voices are also opposed. Many of them have also opposed Thomas Massey. But at this point, look at this. His chance of being the Republican nominee, winning that Republican primary in Kentucky Sports District, is actually more likely than not to occur. Look at this. According to the Kalshi prediction market at this point, a 71% chance.
I think a lot of people want the Trump, they want the Trump policy without the Trump baggage. They don't want the Epstein baggage. They don't want the weird comments and inappropriate comments about women baggage. They don't want the, reality TV baggage. A lot of people want the policies and they want the messaging, but Donald Trump is such an imperfect actor that somebody like Thomas Massey, who doesn't have that same type of problem, I think is going to be very popular. I actually think that after Donald Trump leaves politics, you are going to see a tremendous increase in the amount of conservatives and Republicans, because a lot of the criticisms that people have about the Republican Party right now is hinged around Donald Trump's personal behavior. Things like, comments he's made about women, things that he said about, other men, right? The Pope and stuff like that. There are very few and very rarely, at least in my opinion, you guys can, disagree with this. I think some people could disagree, but I don't think so. I think that overwhelmingly, a lot of the criticisms about Donald Trump are about Donald Trump. It's not even about what he's saying. It's about who he is. And I think that the moment that he retires and he leaves politics and becomes just more of a kingmaker rather than the king himself, which, a president, is obviously not a king. I'm just making a phrase. But my point is that I think that you're going to see a huge increase in conservatism. Massive increase.
But here's the thing. Again, I'm building blocks here. It's not just on the right. It's not just amongst Republicans where Israel is losing support amongst the unexpected places. How about among younger men who were a key part of Donald John Trump's coalition back in 2024? they have very much shifted away from Israel. Look at this.
Yeah.
Net favorability of Israel among men under the age of 50. In 2022, not too bad, but not too hot to trot either at -3 points. By 2025, again, down we go, -22 points. That is a 19-point shift in just 3 years' time. But it gets even worse. Look at this for Israel. -47 points. That's a 44-point shift away from Israel on the net favorability amongst young men who, of course, shifted massively into the Republican column back in 2024, and they have been shifting away from Israel over the last 4 years. But here's the thing. You want to talk about unexpected, perhaps no number I have seen is more unexpected.
There's another really big issue, and here's the main reason why I think that a lot of guys don't like Israel. I actually don't think that it has to do with Gaza or Palestine. I think that it has to do with the fact that Israel is involved in our politics in a way that makes a lot of young men uncomfortable. And I think that when you combine that in an age now where there's so much economic uncertainty, and I think that economic uncertainty that's being connected to, Israel being involved and us giving them a lot of money and, having such relations with them, I think that makes young men incredibly uncomfortable. And I think also the tangential relationship it had towards the Epstein files. I think that for young guys, the Epstein files were a much bigger thing. You poll the general population, most people don't really care. But for, a lot of the guys on the internet, everybody was talking about this, right? So it was a huge component to it. And I think the other thing too is that there are some things that I would say are kind of anti-Semitic in a way that are related, oh, we're in a lot of debt. Well, who owns all the banks? It's Jews, right? Or something like that. I think that is a component. But the other big component is that the excessive amount of asks and demands for censorship. And I think Israel has dramatically overplayed their hand in reframing criticisms of Israel as anti-Semitism. They've reframed criticisms of Israel's connection with American politics as anti-Semitism. And basically any criticisms of Israel, period, have been labeled as, anti-Semitic. And so when you have and then the Palestine thing is just the cherry on top, right? In general, I think that people give Israel too hard of a time. I think that they're fighting against terrorists, and sometimes if you're going to bomb terrorists that are inside of civilian areas, civilians are going to get killed. In my opinion, my concern isn't what Israel's doing in the Middle East, it's what Israel is doing in America. What they do in the Middle East is their problem. So my viewpoint is that, it makes me very uncomfortable that I see the Israeli flag right next to the American flag on a regular basis, and there are senators and congresspeople that can't come to the easy conclusion of I support America over Israel whenever they're asked that question. That makes me very uncomfortable as a young man, or a middle-aged man, I guess now you could say, voting in America. It does, because it makes me feel like we're being occupied. I don't think that we really are being occupied, but I think at the same time, there is some truth in that. It's mostly bullshit, but it's not all the way bullshit. And the reality is that it shouldn't be at all. It should be zero.
Than this one, because
when
we talk about the Democratic base, right, and we talk about them being against Israel.
And another big problem is that I think that there has been a lot of other foreign, and this is going to sound like me defending Israel, and in a way I am, but I think that what's happened is that a lot of foreign influences are competing for the most valuable resource in the entire world right now. It's not gold, it's not diamonds, it's not platinum, it's not oil, it's not rare earth. It is the hearts and minds of the American people, because the American people can vote to change the world. And so what's happening is that you have, China, the other Middle Eastern countries, whether it's Qatar, Russia, Europe, other forces in the world are trying to create, and I think that they've realized that they can create this boogeyman of Israel, and then they can reframe their propaganda as being anti-Israel, and the opposition to that is reframed as if it's pro-America. I think that there are a lot of instances where people are anti-Israel and also anti-America. Just because something is anti-Israel does not mean that it's pro-America. And I think this is a huge problem, because people basically are trading one foreign master for another. And I think neither of them are actually America first. It's just that Israel isn't first, and they're convincing themselves that it's America first. And I think that there's a tremendous and a huge propaganda war that's going on right now, and not enough people discuss it. And the reason why is that I think that so many people are audience captured to where they're afraid to say that because so many people are so rabidly anti-Israel that they can't add any nuance or any complexity to the conversation because it will be reframed and distilled down to, oh, you're just trying to get $7,000. But, you know, for me, obviously, I have to say something about this. That's what my opinion is on it. I think that's exactly what's happening.
That's been true amongst liberal and very liberal Democrats for a decent period of time. But now we're even seeing it among moderate and conservative Democrats, because take a look at these numbers. I mean, this is a sea change. This is a sea change. Net favorability of Israel amongst non-liberal Democrats, that is those who
almost
identify as either moderate or conservative.
Holy shit.
Back in 2022, Israel was on the plus side of the ledger. I'll give it one thumbs up at plus 3 points. Look at this. By 2025, minus 30 points. That's a 33-point shift in just 3 years' time. You think that's a big shift?
Holy
How
shit.
about now? Look at this. Among moderate conservative Democrats, the net favor of Israel, down into the Sea of Galilee at minus 55
Why are
points.
so many people becoming Nazis? Well, a lot of the reasons why are because you keep calling them Nazis for disagreeing with Israel. You keep calling them Nazis for that, and they're going to eventually start agreeing with you. This is a pretty big problem. It's a big problem. It's a meta-level problem.
That's a nearly 60-point switcheroo in just 4 years' time. Now, why are we seeing these shifts? Why are we seeing these shifts amongst Democrats, amongst Republicans, at least certain portions of the Republican electorate, and why are we seeing it among younger men who are a big part of Trump's coalition? It is because it is part of a larger sea change against Israel. I mean, just take a look at these overall numbers right now. The net favorability of Israel among all adults. In 2022, it was plus 13 points. I'll give that 2 thumbs up. Look at by 2025, minus 8 points. That's a 21-point switch in just 3 years. And now, the net favorability of Israel amongst all adults, minus 23 points. That's a 36-point change in just 4 years' time.
Massive.
Amongst all adults. Now, okay, that's part of the reason why that we're seeing these groups within these shifts, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. But it's more than that. How about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which, of course, has been taking center stage over the past few years here in America, especially after the October 7th attacks and then Israel's response to it. Take a look here. I mean, this is a change. This is a change. Who Americans sympathize more with, the Israelis or the Palestinians? Back in 2022, before the October 7th attacks, it was the Israelis by 28 points. That would even climb into the 40s, 50s, depending on which polling you looked at in terms of who Americans sympathize with. The margin very much on the side of Israel. But look at where we are now. In 2026, Americans sympathize more with the Palestinians by an 11-point margin. That is a shift of nearly 40 points in just 4 years' time. And when you compare it to 2023, after the October 7th attacks, we're talking about what, a 50, 60-point change?
And like for Democrats, I feel like it's like plus like 98, right? Or something like that. They're pretty much all on board with this. Why can't we just like both? I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, all of the sand wars, I want nothing to do with them. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Like, you guys want to blow each other up? That's fine. Fine, just go do it. Just don't bother us. Don't have any problems. And if there's a big issue, then we got to blow it up, right? Like Iran, got to blow it up. But other than that, just keep killing each other. Do whatever the hell you want. It's not our fucking problem, okay?
My goodness gracious.
Like, my concern is AIPAC, ADL, that kind of stuff. That's where I'm coming from. What's happening in the Middle East is, really not my concern.
This is the best position that the Palestinians have ever been in the minds of the American public. The Palestinians making history in terms of who Americans sympathize more with. But it is not just the Israelis and the Palestinian conflict why we're seeing these shifts among all these different groups and overall as well.
What do you mean,
it is because of the man who right now is the prime minister, the longtime prime minister of Israel, who's been prime minister at least in parts
like
all the way back to my childhood. I mean, I think he was the prime minister when I was like 8 or 9. That is how long. And while I look young, I'm not that young anymore. But take a look at Bibi Netanyahu. Look at his net favorability rating here in the United States.
And if you just wow, I do look young, but you know.
In early 2024, he was on the plus side of the ledger at plus 9 points. But look now, minus 23 points. Again, an over 30-point shift in the wrong direction if you are a fan of Bibi Netanyahu here in the United States. And among independents, we're talking about that his net favorability rating at this point is a minus 35 points in the average poll. He is about as popular as Donald Trump is here in the United States. And of course, Trump ain't too hot to trot, to borrow a phrase I used earlier on. And here's the other thing, which is this is starting to have major electoral ramifications. Israel has become a 4-letter word in Democratic primaries. And one way you can see that is AIPAC, right? AIPAC, the lobbying group.
The noticing is intensifying. Wow. Wow. That's a lot of noticing. Holy shit. It's about time. Yeah, this is a huge problem. It's a huge issue. I think that a lot of patriotic Americans need to come together and remove all of these foreign forces and foreign agents out of our country. Like whether it's through mass deportations, revoking visas, denaturalizing people, taking away their citizenship, sending them back, undoing the 14th Amendment, like stopping foreign funding, like getting rid of dual citizenship. Like nobody who runs for government should be able to have dual citizenship with any other country other than America. Period. That's it. Even if you run. I thought originally like, oh, well, what if only if you win? No. If you even run for government, you should have to revoke all citizenship. Why? Because I don't want the captain of my ship to have a lifeboat. That's why.
Google searches for AIPAC in 2026 up like a rocket, up 363% versus last year, reached an all-time high last month. You often hear those on the left using AIPAC against their opponents if they have in fact taken money from AIPAC. I'm not expecting that to change anytime soon. On the left, I think the question is going to be, if these young Republican numbers hold, and we see this right here, will AIPAC and Israel possibly become a boogeyman on the right as well? We're not really.
I think it's a negative, but I also think that a lot of the hate for Israel is a proxy for the hate of Western culture. Because inside of that conflict, Israel is a proxy for American influence in Western culture. And I don't want to have people get psyoped. Like if you don't like Israel, then you should have reasons for not liking them that are directly related to America. Not some bullshit over there, but what's happening here. And I think that overwhelmingly, there's a lot of people that are against it because they're against it. They're not really. I'm telling you, man. All of the people that are like that, many of the people that are like that, look at the leftists that are super pro anti-Israel. They hate America. They hate the West. I mean, how many points on a graph do you need to make a line? I've talked a lot about how I don't agree with Israel. I've said this many, many times. I don't agree with what a lot of Israel does. But I think it's also fair to say that a lot of this hate is a racial animus hate that we have imported into America as another fucking blood feud from thousands of years. It's the same as, like, remember what I said? I don't want to import Somalian tribal conflicts into America. I also don't want to import Middle Eastern blood feuds into America either. And I think that it's very fair to contextualize and say that it's totally reasonable and totally fine to have your own issues and your concerns with Israel. I have them. Many people should have them. I think that you should have them. And I think that in some cases they are way too influential and they should not be. But that does not mean that you should totally give carte blanche and a total blank check to anybody who is anti-Israel. Many of the people are anti-Israel because Israel is a proxy for the West. That's another big reason why they are. You should keep that in mind. This is what I was saying before about how there are multiple foreign influences. Multiple foreign influences. None of them are on your side. All of them want to subvert you. All of them want to import a bunch of foreigners into your country and ethnically replace you. Absolutely fucking not. You can be anti-Israel and not play into the traps of people that want to do that to your country. Only Trump can save us? Well, obviously not. We're going to need like the guy after Trump in order to solve this problem. That's what I think.
Quite sure at this point, given how quickly
not ethnically, politically through voting. No, you're wrong. Like they want to activate people. No, see, you're thinking about this as a Western person. Racism is very common in the world. What percentage of these people, like what percentage do you think of these different racial demographics voted for their same racial demographic to win inside of these different political elections? We're talking 80, 90% swings. No, it's ethnic replacement. They're trying to do that. They say that. This isn't a conspiracy. This is them saying it themselves. You have a congressperson from California saying that, well, if we outnumber the white people, let's get together and create an ethnic coalition to vote against white interests. What else can you say other than that's what they're doing when they say that's what they're doing? It's the same in Europe. Yeah, exactly. I understand this is a very hot topic. People don't want to discuss this, which is exactly why I'm saying it. It's exactly why I'm saying it, because that is what's happening. And anybody can see that. What's white interests? Meritocracy, not having DEI, having a system that is based off of the content of your character rather than your ethnicity, your culture, or your religion. That's it. Again, Western culture, Roman law, Greek philosophy, Christian morality. That's it. So whatever is counter to that. That's it. It's that simple. That's why they're pushing it.
Maybe they'll change back the other way in 4 years' time.
I know people might
but the
not want to
bottom
hear
line
that.
is this. Views on Israel have shifted tremendously in a lot of unexpected places, not just on the left wing of the Democratic Party. All right, so this was me running all the numbers on Israel's U.S. popularity problem. If you have another topic that you want me to cover, leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll see if we'll do it next time around.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I think this is completely deserved. It is, they overplayed their hand in a massive way. And I understand that, you know, this conversation, there might be a little bit of dissonance with this because I'm talking about this from one angle where I'm like saying that, well, you shouldn't side with another foreign power. People can interpret that as being pro-Israel. Again, I think this is a very complex issue and people are oversimplifying it. And like, hopefully the way that I explained everything makes the most sense to you guys. And, you know, hopefully I did a good job. It's going mega viral. IDF just confirmed the incident. Let me link you guys the video real quick. Which incident here? Let me go back and see it. Where did it go? And here we go. I think it gave faith over 17, and I disagree with you. Yeah, like, I mean, that's my outlook on it, right? That's what I think about it. IDF confirmed it. Photo of soldier striking a Jesus statue sparks authenticity debate. Palestinian journalist posted the photo Saturday, claiming it depicts an Israeli soldier desecrating a statue in Despel, a Maronite village in Lebanese border in a campaign against Hezbollah. The image drew over 50,000 likes, rest from repost figures calling it horrific. A local page quoting a quote, urging forgiveness. Skeptics point to AI and odd physics with mismatched details, while the IDF stated it's investigating it. Okay, well, let's see. So this is him destroying it. Our greatest ally that takes billions of dollars in weapons every year. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. IDF confirmed this? Did they say that it's a real photo? I mean, again, like, if they want to... this is what I said before, right? The Palestinian journalists, like, a lot of these people are Muslim. Like, they're not on our side either, right? I mean, this is another foreign influence and a foreign power, right? They sort of did. But we got to get out of this entirely. We got to get the fuck out of here. Like, and so the IDF has confirmed this. And following the completion of an initial examination regarding a photograph published earlier today of an IDF soldier hammering a Christian symbol, it was determined that the photograph depicts an IDF soldier operating in southern Lebanon. The IDF views this incident with great severity and emphasizes that soldier's conduct is wholly inconsistent with the values expected of the troops. The incident is being investigated by the Northern Command and is being addressed to the chain of command. Appropriate measures will be taken against those that are involved in accordance with the findings. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. There's nothing else really they can say about it. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Oh boy, inconsistent. And we Muslims never mock Jesus. Get this thing in your head. Stop sucking up to Jews. Are you really going to tell me that in a lot of these Muslim countries, Christians have the same rights to have churches and to pray and to openly be Christian? Like, they are Muslim countries, and that they have every right to do that. I'm not saying I'm not criticizing it. I'm saying that these people are not the same as, a Christian person inside of Western culture. Like, this is not the same. I don't get this. Some do, some don't. That was absolutely retarded take? Yeah, I don't know. Heard Muslims mocking Jesus? Exactly. Yeah, all countries have soldiers like this? They do. And so, like, what is this here? If I can find it, Muslims mock Jesus. And by the way, I know, listen, and I want to make sure you understand this. I know that Jesus is the most referenced prophet in, or person, or whatever you want to call it, in the Quran. I know you respect Jesus. I know that you do, and I think that there's common ground to be had there. But I don't think that it should be forgotten that the way that Christians are able to openly express their faith in many Muslim countries is regulated heavily. So I don't view there's a common thread, but there's not a direct allyship. There's not. And I think that, over here, Muslims can have mosques and everything here. They have complete freedom of religion. And so there's a bit of a problem there. It's a main issue, a mega issue. And I'm not saying that you guys are our enemy or something like that, but it's not like, again, Christians should be on the side of Christians. They should not have to pick whether they're on the side of Jews or Muslims. They should pick on the side of Christians and decide what is in their best interest, rather than being, creating a false choice. There's no requirement that we have to choose one or the other. And by the way, I think in a lot of cases, the moderate people can, and I hate to say this because it's a meme, but I think that we can coexist in a lot of cases. And I think in many of these countries we do, but I think that the extremism is a huge problem. Jews hate cats. What is this here? Oh, here we go. What is this? Big Iran. Okay. So look at the video, the Asmongold. Okay. Me a Nazi at a Jew. All right. Right. Destroy Israel. Okay. All right. Nuke Israel. So, and this is the thing, right? Is like, I mean, all right. So this is the problem, man. Is like, you're trying to be like, oh, well, we're on your side. You're saying shit like this. You're not on our side. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. It's weird, bro. Like, yeah, Jesus Christ. And, there are enemies. Yeah. I mean, like, that's a crazy thing to say. Christians used to have the same archaic conservative practices as Muslims with women until they strayed and became more secular. Listen, I'm not in a position to judge other people's religion. Well, I mean, obviously, everybody can have any opinion they want, but I'm just giving, I'm giving my opinion, right? That's it. Zero consistency. Yeah, exactly. Literal zero consistency about this. And I find it to be problematic and weird. I think it's very problematic and weird. Bro was third worlding it. He sure was. He was. We don't agree, but we can coexist. Yes, I think that you can coexist with people, but whenever their idea of coexisting is genocide, well, we can coexist with them. Basically, we're going to exist where they were. Like, that's... You're into a bit of a problem, aren't you? And so, no one in the world defends Christians in the Middle East more than Israel. Listen, I can see that. This is, you're creating, again, the false choice. This is the false choice. I reject this false choice. As a person, like, I'm not a Christian. I grew up Roman Catholic, but I'm not really a Christian. I'm not really a Catholic. But I want to live in a Christian and a Catholic society. Okay? So that's the way it is.